still got 2 more best of 5s coming up for you guys tonight here at the Starleague. And one of them is going to be a PvT. The other is going to be a PvP. So a lot of more Protoss coming up tonight.
Yeah, I really definitely enjoyed that TvT, but my favorite match of the night is coming up here. It's going to be Stats versus INnoVation. I feel like just 2 very big names. You know, INnoVation recently joining SKT showed some intensely awesome TvT in Pro League that we just saw yesterday against Center. Really smashed. Like, even though Center was looking good as well.
Center was ahead, actually, significantly in the game. And
INnoVation's like, oh, wait, no, I'm INnoVation. Like, I'm going to kill you.
I
like,
am.
And
it's really nice that you're making a comeback and all in your pro gaming career, Center, but, like, I'm the most relevant player you've faced.
That tongue micro, though. That's
that tongue micro
a great GIF. You guys can check that out on Reddit.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even catch that when I was commentating.
Yeah.
That was something I got to see when I woke up the next morning.
And Stats as well, you know, just a very solid Protoss player who was making his breakout, but he's kind of like leveled off now, just like being just like a very solid player as well. So he can definitely take some games off INnoVation, but I would still give this one to INnoVation here. Yeah, for sure. INnoVation just really on top of his game right now. When INnoVation is in tip-top shape, sometimes he's the best player in the world, maybe even one of the favorites to win this whole tournament. So we're in the lobby now. Our first map's going to be merry-go-round. Well, let's introduce these players. Stats, as you guys could see here, had a pretty successful 2014, making it to the round of 16 in Season 3. Qualified for WECG, of course, as well, and was able to win that qualifier, taking first place, getting the top seed, and making it to the round of 8 then afterwards as well. So I guess that's a bit redundant, actually, that the WCS 2014 is up there twice, but it happened in between, I think. He's like messing around with his headset. I don't know what's going on. He's like spinning the ears around. He's like, no, this isn't right. I can't handle this. Let's see if he likes it now. No.
It's a sound blocker, man. Got to be comfortable because those things are really tight, actually. You and I have both experienced
Got to block the
this.
sound, man.
But if you put those on, you can't hear the person standing next to you. I mean, it's pretty legit here. I'm telling you guys.
Okay,
all right, that's
okay,
right.
oh, okay.
No, actually, no, it's not good enough. All right, INnoVation, his opponent here. Now, if I wanted to read all that stuff out, it would take me forever. So let's just say this guy is really good. BlizzCon making it to the round of 8. Obviously, you know, one of his best accomplishments. Did win Season 3 of Codes. Everyone wonders what would have happened if Cure won that last game, though, in the semis and faced Sue instead.
Yeah, man.
But we'll never know because INnoVation won the whole thing.
Everything could have been different, but it's just the way it is now. INnoVation, he's looking to make new strides here on his new team, SK Telecom. Him and Dream are starting to reform that Terran lineup for SK Telecom. So really exciting to see here in 2015.
Identical bans here, actually. Funny as it is the previous series. Nimbus, the ban for stats. No, I mean, these bans make sense. I mean, Nimbus, ban it for drops. Deadwing, ban it. It's big. Protoss death balls are scary. INnoVation likes to do SCV pulls. If you get cross spawns on Deadwing, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that it is. And just reading off the maps here, set 1, Merry-Go-Round, set 2, Catalina, set 3, Overgrowth, set 4, Foxtrot Labs, and set 5, King Sejong Station. So having King Sejong Station as the last map this time and not the first one.
Yep. So just talking about the map order here, Catalina being game number 2, INnoVation is going to be pretty happy about that. Otherwise, you know, it's a pretty standard map pool. No big favors. The big maps that favor one race or the other, I think most people would agree, are actually Nimbus and Deadwing, which are both banned. So a happy game 2 there for INnoVation. And Stats finally got his headset fixed. He was actually like making a big fuss about it in the chat too. He was really serious about this. It's time, guys. Game number 1, Stats versus INnoVation here at the SSL.
Up here on the top left in the red, the Protoss player here, it is Stats.
Loves his Stargate play. And down here in the bottom center in blue, one of the best players in the world, the most recent GSL champion, it's INnoVation. Just recently moving to SK Telecom. Is SK Telecom INnoVation, otherwise known as ExoVation. I'm not sure I get the joke. It's like he went into SK Telecom. I'm like, well, I guess he's like, X INnoVation because INnoVation wasn't on S Telecom before. I don't know.
I'm not so sure, man.
I couldn't read the Korean fast enough to see if it explained it, but I read some of it, and I don't think it does.
He was talking about SKT1 Terran Hope.
Yeah.
So something.
Oh,
about
it's because they think he looks like the EXO guy.
Oh God.
He doesn't look like the EXO guy.
He actually does not look like the EXO. I don't understand this at all. Actually,
listen,
I don't know.
Somebody tweet this at me. So during the break, I remember I'll actually tweet a picture of the EXO guy, so you guys can actually compare. I'll tweet a picture of INnoVation and the EXO guy. You guys can tell me if you think so. Yeah, side by side comparison incoming.
You know, the thing is, I actually know a decent amount of the members on that squad, but I don't I just don't see it at all. Like, there's no one that actually pops out to me of being like, oh, it's him, or I just don't see it at all.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know, Brendan is by far the most well-versed K-pop caster in Korea. He knows a lot. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to hit him up on Brendan Valdez.
That you can, yeah.
So in this game, we have a standard expand here for INnoVation. Looks like it's going to be a Reaper expand. Although we have been seeing a lot more Reactor Marine expands recently, so you can never say for sure until you see that Reaper anymore.
Yeah, but there it is. And already Stats has got that wall set up. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Protosses like to set up that wall, try to block out the Reaper from getting behind the minerals and kiting out the probes.
Indeed. Well, there's that Zealot, as our observer is highlighting. Will be canceled after he finds there's no eBay block. The probe's going to gather some minerals first, and there goes the CC for INnoVation. They'll be followed by a reactor. I can see the future. No big deal. Zealot cancel Nexus. Where's that reactor?
How do you do it, Wolf? How have you come this far?
I know everything. Mothership core is on the way, and in a second, he's going to decide what tech he wants.
Well, Reaper coming over here as well. And a pylon over here being put down. Could hide some tech over there in the back of the base.
It's really important for INnoVation to actually see all three pylons. Sees the first one at the ramp, sees the second one at the wall. And will he check? Actually, he can't. He can't really get in there and check anymore. So the mothership core is out. He could try to force it. He's going to do it. He's going to just force it. I think he's going to see it.
Yeah, he should be able to.
He sees it.
Going to squeeze by here.
That's really important. It's good that he decides to do this because it's tough to actually bounce out of the merry-go-round base on this map.
Yeah.
And so, you have to do a double jump basically. So to commit to this is pretty brave, but he knew there were those stalkers out with the Nexus timing, and now that he sees the third pylon, he knows for sure absolutely zero chance of a proxy.
That he is. Back at INnoVation's base, decides to go for those 3 racks down here, so he's going to get some quick upgrades as well as a lot of bio out here pretty quick, and possibly force on a push there, get that Nexus cannon down early. Whereas for Stats, he's just getting the robo facility and get some observers out, maybe some quick tech into Colossi. We see that pretty often.
Stats, or rather INnoVation, checks the Stats proxy location where you would see normally an Oracle, finds that there's not one there, and now he wants to jump in again. It's going to be tough to actually get in here, especially on this map. It's so hard to get a Reaper by. He might try to go behind the minerals. Let's see if he does that. Yeah, he's going to try to go behind the minerals, but he's already taken too much Stalker damage. He might scan, because he still doesn't know, even though it's a standard build and he has nothing to worry about, he doesn't know that yet. Because seeing 3 pylons lets you know, okay, no proxy, but it still could be an Oracle. And speaking of proxies, this is quite close in proximity to INnoVation's base. Let's see what he's got planned here.
Yeah, I mean, we do have that robo out. He's made an Observer, and now he's going into an Immortal, actually. Ooh. He's had 2 extra gates here.
He might add additional gates at this location. He's got a lot of different things he could do. Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
He adds a second robo and makes double Immortals. Don't think so. Kind of an odd proxy. Only thing that makes sense to me is extra gates if he's going to do an all-in. If this is just a proxy pylon to scout drops, he wouldn't continue to be making Immortals right now, and he wouldn't leave his probe there. Yeah. So he's definitely going to hide something. It's not entirely clear just yet.
Maybe just keep it there, make a more forward pylon when he decides to go for some kind of push. And now he's adding a Twilight Council at his main base. So that probe is just guarding the watchtower, or rather guarding the pylon for now, I guess.
I'm curious about this. The scan misses the Twilight. It's going to see the Immortal come out, which immediately triggers 2 additional bunkers. I don't understand the Twilight Council. He might actually just be hoping that that was going to get scanned or something. I don't know. Let's wait and see. I want to be really patient with this build. Could try to make a Dark Shrine. Use the Warp Prism, but it's already too slow for that. So he's going to poke with this, and I guess do the follow-up with the DTs with a drop.
Yeah. Seems like that probe was just there, actually, to make another forward pylon here.
Okay, I think I'm starting to understand this build a little bit more. This is similar to what SOS did. He just wants to fake pressure and force bunkers, and then he's going to transition into a third base and Colossi. The Dark Shrine is to continue the pressure with the Warp Prism. This is a little bit more intense than what SOS did with his fake because he's actually making units straight up. It's a very real, scary thing that INnoVation has to be scared about. But he's making probes at home, and this is, again, just another clever fake. We're seeing this work. It's kind of been the evolution of Kespa PvT. We saw it first with the Blink Stalker fake build after Blink Stalker all-ins were really strong.
Yeah,
then we
look
saw
at this.
Immortal all-ins come back. Immortal all-ins are really strong. And then now people are faking Immortal all-ins or faking Stalker pressure and then taking a third base. So it's this kind of fake evolution.
Yeah. I mean, it's very hard for the Terran to hold this kind of push without bunkers. And it kind of forces you. If you see two Immortals, you're going to be like, oh no, he's going for an all-in. He's going to push me. But I think now INnoVation's like, oh, no, you didn't. You just did this, and he wants to put on the pressure because he knows that, Stats was not really actually going for an all-in.
You're absolutely right, and sorry to cut you off there. The most important thing here for INnoVation is that he gets that Warp Prism, because these DTs are supposed to be dropped in the main base right now, which really annoys you when you're trying to do this counter pressure with your whole army. If DTs are in your main, that becomes a totally different story as to how much you can commit to this. The DTs have to walk now, so a little bit less safety here for Stats, but he knows there's no turrets. He can actually see that.
Oh, God.
Combat shields aren't done yet, so he can one-shot Marines.
You got a drop going into the main at the same time. This scan, he's got the concussive shell, so he is able to catch actually two DTs in one scan. And look at this. This is a lot of tech under one pylon.
Yeah, that's a lot of tech indeed. Actually, probably will be able to snipe that Robo, possibly even more than that. Just ignores the Zealots, actually. Gets the Robo Bay.
Oh, and this
He might go for the Colossus, and he does. He won't.
Yeah, should be able to. Oh, just barely. He actually turns around too early, and the Colossus lives with 8 health. Big mistake there.
Well, it definitely was a mistake, but at least he got it down to 8 health. That means that about half of its health when it fights later is going to be easier to be picked off on Vikings. Still a win here, especially considering he killed the Bay, which means he has no other Colossi to worry about.
Very true. He's already got 4 Vikings coming out at a time here, so he's just in a great position now.
The drops continue to harass here, and the Dark Shrine lost a lot of its shields. It looks like he's not going to commit to that anymore. But a pretty successful drop overall. Nice. Has a turret up. Well prepared here for any DT harassment that might come his way. And that medevac, or rather, that pylon will be spotted by that Marine, so you can clear that up as well. And that means no further Zealot harassment later without Warp Prisms. Range so late now, as you guys can see on the production tab.
We see INnoVation stop SCV production at 47. That's why Stats is actually ahead by 20 workers here. And with 4 Vikings coming out at a time and delaying the amount of Colossi that are going to be in this push, I would not be surprised to see that kind of pull the boys push here at INnoVation.
Massive amount of gateways being added here for Stats, meanwhile. As he has that third base economy fully powered up, and he feels comfortable enough now with the extra minerals he's built up here. He wants to dump them into Zealots and start his Storm research, of course. The Temple Archive's coming up here. Little Ninja Scout comes in and sees that the Robo, of course, has resumed production. And yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. This is what INnoVation likes to do. Let's see if he decides to commit to it. He's had that third base up for a really long time, so that gives him a ton of Vikings. I mean, like you're saying, 4 at a time. I feel like he might actually just poke and then decide if he wants to pull the boys with the second follow-up push. Oh, never mind, he's doing it.
Yep, there it is, guys.
The
boys have been pulled.
And Storm isn't done. He's got this very small timing window. Going to hit this before Storm is ready. Range is going to be done at least.
Nice cats there actually on the army with the observer, so he knows which angle this is coming from. It's so important to get a nice angle here, but he's actually letting INnoVation walk up the natural ramp right now. And the Vikings already getting some great pot shots here on the Colossi.
He just wedges right in between these two armies and picks those Colossi off like it's nothing. Storm isn't done. Charge isn't done. This is going to be a walkover here. This is just absolutely annihilation that we're seeing here. And that's the end of this game, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry if you were expecting a Protoss victory here. INnoVation is going to take this out easy peasy. DT's trying to hold down the fort, but this army's getting healed. He's got plenty of scans. Like, there's one right there. Could do another scan on his main army. There it is. To wipe out any additional DTs. Also gets rid of that observer. And one DT is not going to change the world, Valdez.
No, it's not going to change the situation in this game. Stats is like trying to trade here, but it doesn't matter. GG. INnoVation takes game number 1 in pretty crushing fashion there.
INnoVation doesn't mind if his economy is disrupted in the early game. He just doesn't really care.
Yeah, he's like, okay, well, I just won't make any more SCVs. I can sit here on 47 and pull them later.
He took a very comfortable third base after he realized that it was a fake, and he took that like immediately, no hesitation, and from there was able to just power up a ton of Vikings. He also killed that Warp Prism, and I can't stress enough how important that was for stats. If that was in a better place, could have warped in 2, 3 DTs, dropped it into the Warp Prism there, and just put right into the main base. So much pressure.
Yeah, that was like the special stats like portion of the build where he adds those DTs in, and INnoVation able to clean up those 2 at the same time with 1 scan just like took a huge portion of that build away.